as the Constitution behoves on him, the mandate of his late principal, Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, who passed on, some time ago. And now, after that, he sought re-election. And of course, he has been elected and sworn in just a few days ago. At that ceremony that happened in Akure, the state capital, many persons were there, expectedly so. But he paid a glowing tribute to his former boss. And he said he wished the man who prophetically, spoke about him, succeeding him, was there to really witness. And he said, let me say part of what Governor Aiyedatiwa said. He said, I must say that I'm deeply pained that this great leader who saw tomorrow is not here with us to witness and savor this auspicious occasion, which marks the fulfillment of what God spoke through him. May the gentle soul of Akure Rotimi Akeredolu see you and continue to rest in peace. Amen. And he previously said, still at that ceremony, I'm particularly indebted to him for choosing me as his deputy and for his public and undisguised prophetic declaration at about this time on this same podium 4 years ago. That declaration must be appreciated for setting the tone for me as his successor to the office of the governor. Mr. Aiyedatiwa, your home state, now has still the same man, Lucky Orimison Aiyedatiwa. He has many persons say maybe he's now his own man. He has his own mandate, at least for 4 years right now, and he paid glowing tribute to his former Oga on this matter. What do you make of the leadership in the last 1 year of Lucky Orimison, now that he has another 4 years as the man in charge at your Sunshine State?
Well, I really don't understand what you intend drawing at when you say he has his own mandate now. The onus of leadership of Ondo State has been on the shoulder, absolutely, of Lucky since December of 2023, even but since October, when he resumed office as acting governor, then substantively sworn in as the governor of the state in December. So the leadership of the state solely has been on his shoulder since October of 2023 till now, because when his pictures were hanged since that time, they did not write acting governor. He has been the governor of Ondo State. He took an oath of office, and that means he has been in charge, not just starting to be in charge this last Tuesday. Having said that, I've had a little bit of relationship with Lucky Aiyedatiwa prior his assumption of office as the acting governor, then subsequently as governor of Ondo State. And I dare say this is my personal opinion and from my own insight, that the Lucky of Ondo State as deputy governor and acting governor is not the Lucky that have been governor of Ondo State. You would say, how do I mean?
How do you mean?
I am by the grace of God, one of those individuals and members of different groups that fought for his freedom from the hand of the jackals that wanted to tear him apart as a deputy governor, wanted to remove him at all costs. The records are there. Myself and my group sought the order of mandamus that mandated the House of Assembly to put up an inquiry team into the health of Rotimi Akeredolu SAN, who is now late, which paved way for suspension of impeachment of Lucky as deputy governor. But you would have assumed that a Lucky Aiyedatiwa of them, in my opinion, was someone who listens to advice and counsel. But the Lucky that I've seen in the last 14 months as governor of Ondo State is a Lucky that believes that now that he's governor, decisions, opinion of other people, group or individuals does not matter. It has to be about him and him alone. And that is dangerous for democracy. It is dangerous for leadership. And I just hope that he was doing that in the last 14 months to assert authority so that he would not be seen as a weakling. And I hope that that will not transcend to how he manages Ondo State in the next 4 years at least. Look, You could be a bride of the people today, and tomorrow they will say crucify him. And you could also be casted away for crucifixion, and the next minute people will shout Hosanna. A lot, because I know, a lot of the people that stood firm to say that it can be anybody else but not Lucky, who sought his downfall, who were bent on having him removed as deputy governor of that state as a den, under whatever guise. They seem to be the same eagles and hawks that Lucky is surrounded by. And if you allow a snake to bite you twice, you should be questioned. Because to even sustain life after one bite is a lot in itself. What do I mean? I looked, maybe it's for me, but I take notice of very little things. I judge people by antecedents, and I judge you by what I expect should be the minimum standard that it should uphold. Towards the inauguration of Lucky Aiyedatiwa as the governor of the state, the 1 week long inauguration planning or programs, there is nowhere in that 1 week program of inauguration that a single event was planned for engagement of the citizens in terms of expectations from them. What you saw is a party by the seaside in Nairobi. What you saw is a praise night at the government house. What you saw is the drama command night. What you saw is just parties, and parties. There were no specific words spoken as policy direction in that 1 week long event plan.
But the man has been there before. One might say, what exactly do you want him to say? Won't people wait for, his swearing in message to know the policy direction? He's not an entirely new person. And by the way, sorry to butt in here. When I introduced him the other time and I said he now has the full mandate, I remember we had you on this program where we asked you just before the election the kind of leader or governor that Ondo State needs. And that time you sounded in doubt about if Lucky Aiyedatiwa is his own person. And I remember the APC publicity secretary who was on the program with you tried, to come at you to say, what do you mean? Lucky is his own person. That's why I had to introduce him to say he has seen out the mandate of his principal. It was a joint ticket, I understand, but now he has his own 4 years. That's why I said that maybe you have now seen him as his own person. And this assertion of dominance, you seem to be saying he's not right and he has not been talking with the people. How so? He has been there. People can only wait for what his message would be at the swearing in. You don't think so?
You said two things. Number one, let me reiterate again that my position has not changed about my doubts in terms of capacity of Lucky to rule that state. And I think I made an allusion to it earlier on this program just a few minutes ago, that Lucky is surrounded by hawks and foes who seemingly he must have thought about a change of mind that they are not friends. But these are individuals that will have put his head on a tray to be served. All of a sudden, made a U-turn and are now his best of friends and the biggest beneficiaries of whatever is available in government. So my position has not changed. I still have a big doubt on the ability of a Lucky Aiyedatiwa to successfully rule Ondo State and take it to the next level. But I was saying that, look, you were mentioning that maybe the people were not expecting so much before. They were waiting for his inaugural speech. I'm sure you have read his inaugural speech. At least can you point out to policy direction, apart from he said, I will put premium on infrastructure, I will do this. Those are not policy statements. Policy statements would be, what direction are you taking? How do you want to take it? How do you intend to source fund for it? What are the human resources that you will use? That is how a leader thinks, that's how a leader plans. So in his inaugural speech, ditto to the 1 week long inauguration event, I did not see any attempt for citizens' engagement. I keep saying this to leaders whenever I have the time. It's not just enough to decide for the people what you think they need. Citizens' engagement is about listening, conversing with the people to know what exactly their problem is and what is the priority of theirs in having the plethora of problems confronting them resolved. Not when you sit in one corner and say, oh, the people of Aiyedatiwa, we need water. Whereas electricity is their premium. When you think, oh, the people of Ijabe, we need roads. When exactly something else is theirs. And that's what I'm talking to. Lucky failed in being explicit about the direction of his administration prior to his inauguration and even his inauguration speech. And I'm worried because Ondo State has had an antecedent of quality leadership to a large extent compared to other states of the Southwest. I was expecting him to speak to issues like the mother and child care, which Mimiko started and has been altered for 8 years under himself and late Rotimi Akeredolu. What about the ABA program? What about free shuttle buses? What about classification of schools? All of these that were done. So I'm not saying I'm trying to be careful with my words. I'm not saying that Lucky should not have been governor. But now that he's governor, it's not just enough to be governor, but to be deliberate in delivery of services to the people. Let me say this. A lot of people I say, you are too petty. But yes, call me petty. 2 days before Lucky's inauguration, he was at Araromi Beach, the seaside, and he was saying all kinds of things about promotion of tourism and culture, buying made in Nigerian goods. People from Lagos, from abroad should come to Araromi Beach and enjoy themselves, enjoy the gift of nature. And I was shocked that when he mounted the pulpit on Tuesday to be sworn in, my dear Lucky was wearing a suit, which is a foreign dress. This was you promoting made in Nigerian products, promoting Nigerian culture, and calling for tourism attraction 2 days ago. And the same you was seen adorning foreign attire on your swearing in. You are not in London. It is Ondo State. One would have expected that you speak to that intention of expansion of tourism capacity of Ondo State by what you wear on a day like that. These little things might seem insignificant, but for people like me, it matters.
Okay, would you say that from what you said generally, are you implying that the people actually are not okay with the administration of Governor Aiyedatiwa right now? Because judging from the reports we got from BBC, said that there were low turnout of voters during the voting process. So would you say that this somehow has something to do with his timing as the governor, and right now that he has also come in for his second term as a governor?
His first term, yeah.
His first term. He completed the previous term.
I mean, it's not his first term. It's his second term. Once you take a note of office, that's a term. So Lucky is serving the second term. This is the second time he's taking.
I'm sure the legal minds have different interpretations to that. To say he has just seen out the time of his principal. This is his own first mandate right now. Remember, same thing happened with Goodluck Jonathan. He saw out, the time of Umar Aradua. Then he went for election. He was elected. He sought re-election before Buhari came in. So there are antecedents to this thing.
Well, let's leave that. But as far as clarity is concerned, they are taking note of office twice. Okay. But let me go to the question that she asked. Number one, if you go back to history, the circumstances that threw up Lucky Aiyedatiwa, is one that had a lot of question mark on it. Go back to the primary election of the APC, which produced him. It was with a lot of condemnation by those who even ran the primary election with him. It took the intervention of the presidency to douse the tension, because other people that contested with him said that process was shabby and it was practically forced on the people. As if that was not enough, he moved on to the general election. And you will see that in the history of Ondo State, that election witnessed the lowest turnout, which means that people ask doubts. That's my interpretation. There is doubt in the mind of the people. Hence, they did not turn out as much as they should during the election that brought him in as governor. That goes to say that he has a lot in his hand to prove the naysayers right, to let people know that, look, irrespective of what your opinion of me might have been, I'm here to serve you, I'm here to deliver. And so he should. So he's not the one that can afford to play to the gallery. He's one that must hit the ground running right from yesterday, that he has been substantive governor of that state. He must hit the ground running because he has a lot of naysayers to prove wrong. And I'm one of them, because I want to see an Ondo State that is egalitarian. I want to see an Ondo State that sets the pace for other states across the country. I want to see a state where God-given potentials are resuscitated. The biggest bitumen, he spoke to it in his inauguration, which makes me happy, and I hope he gets to do something with it. The biggest deposit of bitumen in the whole of Africa lies in the Igokoda in Ondo State. Ondo State has the longest coastal line in this country. We also have the deepest sea part in Ondo State. We are one of the biggest producers of cocoa. And in terms of education, you cannot put Ondo State to the back. So all of these should be illustrated. I want to see Oluwa Glass come back to life. I want to see the health care of Ondo State that made other people to come from other states of the Federation to come and give back to Ondo State as orchestrated by Mimiko. I want to see it back. These are expectations of the people.
All right.
Which a lucky Aida cannot afford not to meet.
All right. Two questions for me as we begin to run there. First is the fact that there is this, according to you, uncertainty about his leadership and his, prowess. And now that, part of what you have seen that it seems he has not listened from, like, it doesn't appear to be like a listening governor from December 2023. Don't you think some will say that because he's no more the deputy governor that was fragile, that was embattled, and he is a man that is trying to be assertive, to dominate, not just because he wants to be rude, not just because he wants to be tone deaf, but because he wants to be a man on himself, of himself, and take responsibility. And that might rub off to some persons who are finding it difficult to recognize the deputy that was I don't want problem kind of a deputy to the man that is now fully in charge. Should people have problem with him asserting himself to be a force who will take responsibility for his actions or inactions by the people, from the people who voted him? Number one.
A man can be assertive and still be a listener. They are two different things. A man can be very assertive by the position given to him or the onus of responsibility on his shoulder and yet be a listener. My fear, my albatross with Lucky Aiyedatiwa is the political class. And that's why I said he has not been listening to the people, because the political class are not the people. Lucky Aiyedatiwa seems to be sandwiched among the political class. The political class seems to be putting so much demand on him that is beneficial to them in the largest percentage than it is beneficial to the people. And I raised this alarm when the campaigns and allegiance were being pledged to him before the election. And those that you will have thought will have nothing to do with Lucky, all of them started falling head over heel to be the lucky man. I warned that all of these people are not doing this because they love Ondo State. They are doing this for political correctness and for political patronage. Now that he's governor, they will go paper in hand to his table to make demand. Oh, I spent so millions of naira for your election. Oh, I lost 2 members of my team for your election. Oh, I have to do this for your election. Now I want this, now I want that. Right. And when you begin to have such demand from the political class, overwhelming a man, he loses his assertiveness, because except he is man enough, he will not be able to say no to the demand of this political class, which will be at the detriment of the people. And he is elected by the people, not by the political class.
All right. Sorry. Now, part of the tribute that Aiyedatiwa paid to his former boss, Akure, Rotimi Akeredolu, was the fact that, he spoke, and there was a video, in fact, we've had it before on this program, at the last inauguration, where the always vocal, Akeredolu said, Lucky, Orieson, for people to understand, meaning your head is now good. That's a literal, translation. You are lucky now, and I know one day you will succeed me. He said that publicly at the last swearing for Akeredolu. Now, that same thing has happened, and Lucky said the prophetic Akeredolu, it pains him that that man wasn't there. How much of a moment do you think that would have been had Akeredolu was, around?
Funny enough, I believe in the place of prophecy. I believe in the place of destiny. and I believe in the place of faith. All of this put together is to the advantage of Lucky Orimisa Aiyedatiwa today. Right. And if you go back in retrospection, you can call Rotimi Akeredolu the prophet. But let me tell you, perhaps, just perhaps, God took away Rotimi Akeredolu to be able to bring that prophecy into fulfillment. Because I dare say that with what I know by the benefit of insight, if Rotimi Akeredolu had not died, and at the time he did, there is the likelihood that a Lucky Aiyedatiwa might not have been lucky to even complete that term with his boss as deputy governor, let alone having the chance to clinch the ticket of the APC.
Why?
As the governorship.
Why?
I will tell you why. A man is influenced by three things majorly, except for a few men. A man is influenced by the interest and the decision of his immediate family to a large extent, because they are the ones that you resort to after they hold this work. They are the ones that have your ears the most in your most volatile moments. That's number one. Number two, a man is influenced by the faith he chooses to practice. Islam, Christianity, traditional, or you want to be a free thinker. A man is influenced by the choice of his faith. And I dare say that at the time that Rotimi Akeredolu died, the religious sects in the states were not in tune to having a Lucky continue as deputy governor, let alone becoming governor. Just the same way the immediate family of Akeredolu did not want a Lucky. Number three is the political class. The political climate, the political clout was to a very large extent against Lucky. The gang up was so thick. You may not understand, but I was there. I was involved. I attended meetings to the highest it could be, even in the presidency, over this matter. So I can tell you that the political clout was against Lucky, which means if Rotimi Akeredolu has not died as at the time he died, just a possibility, he might have succumbed to the prayer of his immediate family, the prayer of his political family, and the prayer of his faith to say that, Lucky, look, maybe we should try something else.
All right.
And maybe Lucky would not have been governor. So if you talk about the prophecy of Rotimi Akeredolu, God took him away for the fulfillment of that prophecy. And that's why I give it to God, like they will say, because God decides eventually what becomes of any man.
Right.
Okay, comrade, just a quick one there. From what you said that the political class, he's sandwiched in the political class and not for the people. Don't you think he's from the 1 year which he completed, or 1 and some few months which he completed for the late Akeredolu, he just used it to sort of please the political class, and now he's going to be his person and he's going to do better? Shouldn't we give him this benefit of doubt in this his 4-year term?
Yeah, he actually spent 14 months until he was sworn in 2 days ago. But let me tell you why I have doubts that he's going to dispense with the political foes around him. Because I would have expected that he would start on a clean slate. But he didn't. Perhaps Lucky will be one of the first governors in recent history who will transit into a new administration without removing absolutely all the commissioners that served with him in the previous term. And I'm worried. I would have thought that he would have chosen to start on a clean slate, do away with all the political appointees until he's swearing in, and start the new administration on the clean slate. But instead of that, he had baggages that he turned over. If you know what has been said about him and the Commissioner of Finance,
I'm not sure.
Prior to the death of Akure,
can he unilaterally, do away with those persons who have categorized as baggages? People will still see him in another light as being ungrateful, a kind of a person, tongues will have been wagging by now. And I'm not sure the decision to bring people over from those who call foes and hawks are done unilaterally by him alone. Is that the way it works? Comrade, are you with me? Are you with me, sir?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
I'm with you.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, don't get it wrong. Friends becomes enemy, enemy becomes friends.
Right.
It is what we do with them and how we choose them that matters. I'm talking about carrying over excess baggage of the 14 months of the last administration to the new administration. Go and check the history. In recent time, we've not seen such. What governors do was to totally dissolve cabinets before getting sworn in for the new term. But in the case of Lucky Aiyedatiwa, it transited from the 14 months of previous administration to the new one by retaining commissions. He dissolved the cabinet and retained his commissioner of finance and the attorney general Akeredolu. He retained his CPS. He retained all political appointees, SAs and SSAs. He did not dissolve them.
All right.
Till he was swearing for the second time. That for me is a baggage. And it shows that it's not starting on a clean slate. And when that happens, you put yourself sandwiched in position and decision making.
All right, we have to go. And, you know, this doubt that you expressed before the election and we are still expressing now, you know, many of the supporters will say, we hope he clears that doubt and it comes through for, you know, the people of the state. Because if a government will prosper, it will be, or if an administration will prosper rather, it will be to the betterment of everyone in that state. But, you know, my parting shot for you today, you talked about how, you know, humans, especially men, are influenced by so many things, but by the people of his immediate family. And, you know, that is one thing that's kept, you know, reoccurring, and that is this tirade from the widow of the late Akure Akeredolu, that's Miss Betty Akeredolu, who has, you know, more than 2-3 occasions, either verbally, either online, come at Lucky Aiyedatiwa to say you're a betrayal. This is not what Akure Akeredolu deserves. You could have done better. And in fact, the remembrance, 1 year remembrance of the passing of Akeredolu that happened, you know, in December, she still came out to say you're organizing a remembrance program. You didn't carry the family along. We spoke to members of the APC on this program. They said they were carried along. They were invited. But what the widow, Ms. Betty, was expecting that she'd be consulted on how to immortalize, or her opinion will be sought, and she has to give a go-ahead. And, you know, they said maybe she's still a woman grieving. And for persons that know Ms. Betty Akeredolu, they will say maybe she's a kind of a tough woman and still grieving, and you can't really blame her for what is happening. And do you think that Lucky has done well with the benefit of maybe insider information that you have, that he has done well for and with the family of Akeredolu, and Betty is just kind of a grieving woman who has been bitter, you know, at the passing of her husband, unexpectedly so?
I mean, you are trying to put me on the spotlight, and I'm going to be very careful.
Let's have it. You know, it's in the public opinion. Miss Betty has never hidden, you know, our feeling towards Governor Lucky.
There is more that you see. To everything that you see and hear, there are deeper things that will never be brought to the open. That even for those who have the benefit of knowing them, would rather keep it to heart. Before Lucky won that battle, I sat with Lucky Aiyedatiwa a number of times for discussion. I was privileged to sit with the Betty Akeredolu and his son, Jide, a number of times. I sat with the top hierarchy of the Akeredolu enclave severally. And I know the things I was shown, I know the things that I had, I know the things that were said about Lucky and what Lucky's defense were when I confronted them with it. But for the benefit of this interview, let me just say it clearly in one sentence, that Lucky has done good, but he could have done better in how he handled the crisis between himself and the Akeredolu family. But all of that does not matter now. He's the governor. And I hope he will also remember that he cannot predict what happens in his administration and how it will end.
Right. And
he must be very careful so that he does not make enemies foes and call his friends enemies. That's what I say.
All right. Son of the soil, a public affairs analyst, Aiyedatiwa, we wish you, the good people of the Sunshine State, And, you know, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, prosperous reign. Just like I said, if an administration prosper, the people will be happy. Thank you for your time and your take on the Osun local government issues as well. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
All right. And we'll have to go.
Yeah, we'll have to go. Right. Thank you so much for staying with us and for having the program with us. Whenever you're ready, we are always ready. I remain Uzomso Kechiko. We'll see you tomorrow for the Thursday edition of Morning Spring. Please stay with us.
All right. Femi Ojo is my name. You know, having a takeaway from what Aiyologun said to say, we are all history and we are making it right now. Let nobody forget. You only know today. You're not sure what will happen tomorrow, but do good every time you have the opportunity to, and you will do good by visiting our YouTube channel at Western Spring TV, to be a part of what we do here, a recap of this particular episode of this program, and of course, older editions of the program and other exciting programs. I'm sure you will be amazed by what you will find out. Drop your comments there as well on our Facebook, Instagram, and X pages. Femi Ojo is my name. God bless Nigeria. Bye.